Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Nick George.
Welcome to the Good Neighbor Podcast. Are you in need of some very serious cycling innovations? One company might be closer than you think. Today, I have the great pleasure of introducing your good neighbor, Melissa Ross, who is a former cycling professional and a current cycling coach, but also has her own store, which is almost a laboratory on top of a store. Melissa, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
We're excited to learn all about you and your business.
Thanks.
Tell us about your company.
Well, Link Cycling, we're located in Laramie, Wyoming, and the business is owned by myself and my husband, Aaron. We started about 3 years ago at our location, which is right off of 3rd Street, and started small. It was mostly with bike fitting services and then doing some repairs. And then we started to build on top of that with providing many different cycling brands for bikes and providing all the types of parts and tools you might need when you walk into a bike shop.
How did you get into the business in the first place?
Well, our business is actually kind of a comeback story from a previous business that didn't work out, and we lost a lot from that. So it came out of COVID. During COVID, there was a lot of people who needed bike fits virtually, and my husband Aaron's a really well-known bike fitter. And he had people all over the country who he had worked with previously that needed his help. And so he's figured out how to do it virtually. And so we just started getting our own thing going again. And once he got the bike fits going, people who had a bike fit needed a new bike. And he goes, Melissa, we need bikes. And it was after COVID when the supply chain was kind of messed up. So there weren't any brands taking on new vendors. So we had a hard time actually getting a bike brand and getting things going. But once we did, it just started to work out. And now here we are.
Nice. What are some myths or misconceptions in your industry?
Well, I think a big one that we're trying to really get over is when you walk into a bike shop, sometimes they have a vibe of they ignore you or they expect you to know everything about bikes. And there's a lot of people who are getting into cycling. So we try really hard to, be welcoming and non-judgmental so that no matter who you are or what stage you are in cycling, you feel understood and welcomed. And then the other myth I think people have is they sometimes think it's very expensive, which it can be, but there's a lot of different levels of how you can get into the sport. And so, we try really hard to, work through what that person's budget might be and help them get started where they're at.
Who are your target customers, speaking of budget, and how are you attracting them now?
Well, we have a lot of different avenues. We have word of mouth, which is locally and also through bike fitting. We still do a lot of virtual bike fits and for people in Alaska and all over the country. But we also get people who come up from like Fort Collins and out of town where they can't find a bike shop that provides them with a lot of one-on-one time and service. So they'll make the drive here and come see us. We also locally, we support our local trail builders. We support the local middle school, high school team. We have our own program in the summer for little kids to teach them how to get on bikes. So we're constantly trying to be involved in the community in terms of the cycling aspect and getting people, excited about it. Because once you get that excitement, that's when, you want to come to the bike shop too.
I haven't been more excited than I was when I saw your website with BMX bikes with rear suspension. Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh,
That,
yeah. Those are fun.
it made me want to run right down there, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. And being on a bike, I mean, like, I think for a lot of people, including adults, no matter your age, it takes you back to being a kid again. So once that person gets on a bike, they have this like, oh wow, I feel like myself as a kid again, and then they want more of that.
Have you ever thought about doing your own podcast?
Well, I actually have a podcast, but I haven't updated it in a while. It's called Get Your Head Back in the Game, and that podcast I started after I suffered a traumatic brain injury. And so the podcast covers my story of recovery through my traumatic brain injury and interviews different types of people. I'm 100% recovered now, partially from the podcast and meeting certain people who helped me along the way. But yeah, it was from a mountain biking accident. So
is it on your, I'm looking right now. Is it under videos and articles on your website?
No, I think it's in my bio, actually. I have a link to it, but I can send it
later. Tell us about that story. I mean, I typically don't ask people for their master chef hardship story, but
yeah.
And
that was partially the same timing of like when before we started getting this bike shop going. During COVID, I had a mountain biking accident where I knocked myself out and I was unconscious for a while and woke up and didn't know where I was or how I got there. And I had concussions before, but at the time, when you go to the ER, they would just say, well, here's some ibuprofen and it's going to take a while. Good luck. There wasn't much support. Now, when you go into a medical facility, they often have a lot of screening that helps identify many different symptoms of concussions and brain injury. And I had things from dizziness to memory loss to double vision and, not being able to control my emotions. So there was just layer upon layer of issues that I had to kind of piece by piece unravel and work my way through it. But it took over 4 years to recover.
It's impressive what you've done. Seriously. Yeah. So Melissa, please tell our listeners one thing that they should absolutely remember, what the big takeaway from this interview with you about link cycling.
Well, I think the big takeaway is that, we want people to come in and feel like, it's not about us in our shop, it's about them and where they're at in their journey. And we don't want people to feel pressured that they have to go buy a fancy bike to come into our store. It's more about building relationships, getting to know people and helping them with rather, a small fix on their bike to, maybe they make a big jump and purchase something that, is a big deal to them. And we like to take the time to help people, if they're getting into something new, learn how to do it. Like we'll go out and do skills coaching or, help people feel comfortable on their new bike, comfortable on their bike fit. And we want the whole experience to be more than just you get the bike and see you later. It's, it's a new, I guess, upgrade to your lifestyle when you get on a bike and you really enjoy it.
True. How can our listeners learn more about Link Cycling, Melissa?
They can visit our website. It's thelinkinnovations.com, or they can just come see us. We're at 263 North 3rd Street in Laramie.
And for the old-fashioned, a phone number?
307-760-9261.
Well, Melissa, I really appreciate you being on our show, and we wish you and Link Cycling the very best moving forward.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpfortcollins.com. That's gnpfortcollins.com or call 970-438-0825.